Hi, and welcome to this video. My name is Dave Hideman. I'm the application specialist for the steel segment here at Trimble. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about numbering in Tekla Structures. Really, I want to talk about two things today. One being some advanced option settings and how those can affect what your piece marks look like. And then the other being just some normal numbering settings that simply control how things are being compared and how things should be handled at different stages of a project. So first, let's talk about some of those advanced options. Initially, when parts are modeled, you do have a part prefix and start number and an assembly prefix and start number. And all that's saying is if I'm a secondary member, I should get, in this case, a lowercase w, and I should start at number 1, counting up to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if I am the main assembly controlling the piece mark here, I should start, in this case, at a capital C and do the same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With the advanced options, we have controls for how those letters and numbers are actually going to be configured. Some people wanted to use letter first, then number, or number first, then letter. Some people want to pull in the drawing prefix. So if you're putting something on a multi-drawing, that would be like sheet 5. It would be 5C1, 5C2. How those are controlled are all under the advanced options. So you can access these in 2016 and newer by going through your File menu, going to Settings, and then choosing Advanced Options from the Settings menu. There is a section on the left called Numbering. Make sure you select that, and here you can see all of the different numbering settings available. Now, I don't have time to go through all of these in this video, but there's a lot of possibilities and configurations and things that you can do to get your numbers to look exactly the way you want. For example, if you're looking for something like multi-numbering, you can come in here and do a search in this field for multi, and this will restrict it to just the multi-numbering options. So if you wanted to change, instead of having 5C1 like my previous example, but you wanted 5CA or C51 or something like that, you could come to something like the assembly multi-number format string. Now, what you can do with any one of these options is you can type F1, and that will take you to the user assistance page for that setting, explaining a little bit about what it does and some of the available options inside. You can always reach out to your local help desk with an example of the piece mark you're trying to get, and they can show you what settings you need to change to get there. Also, I want to mention about this before going back to the model is if you've been using Tekla for any length of time, there's actually a lot of stuff that's changed and a lot of new features inside of the numbering settings. So you may be doing things and have some workflows that aren't required anymore, and we can actually automate some of that stuff. One of those happens to be for including secondary parts in your multi-numbering. There's a lot of people that still create parts, single part views in their drawings before linking them because they think that's required. It actually isn't required anymore, and actually hasn't been required for several years. So we have a setting here that will automatically include those secondary parts in your multi-numbering without having to make secondary views. So it's things like that that I would definitely recommend for our existing users who've been using Tekla for many, many years. Come in here and just review some of these settings and see if anything can make your life easier. Now, when it comes to actually running a numbering in a model, some people will just go ahead and number with no concern as far as how should parts be numbered, like how should something new be handled, how should something that's been modified be handled, and they may not even be aware that these options exist. So on your Drawings and Reports tab, you want to go to your numbering settings and actually open the numbering settings dialog. Here, in the US Imperial environment, we've provided some presets that you can load for the different stages of a project. How should it be numbered for that first round? What about right before I create drawings for the first time? What about after I've already got drawings of these parts and they've been scrubbed? Or what if we've already started fabricating steel? So those are very different stages of a project, and we've tried to configure these for those stages. These are obviously adjustable, but this should be a good starting point for you. So as an example, if I say initial numbering, renumber all is checked. Reuse old numbers is not. If I was making changes like before creating drawings, I might want to check on reuse old numbers to fill any gaps that may be in my numbering. So there's a lot of settings in here for how you want things to be handled when they're new or when they're changed. That's a big one for people when they say, oh, I had this drawing scrubbed and all of a sudden it's making a new sheet. You probably don't have the modified option here to keep number if possible. That will keep that mark and keep that sheet so you're not having to redo your work. There's a lot of other options in here for how things should be compared, but you definitely want to be checking this every time you run a numbering to make sure that it makes sense for that stage of a project. Again, like the regular advanced options, I can type F1 here, and it will take me to the user assistance site with explanations of what all these checkboxes do. So I hope you find this helpful. Just a little tip for where you can look for a lot of these settings. As I said, contact your local help desk with any specific questions about your issue. I hope you found this video helpful, and thank you for watching.